Today on the Tristen Law Show, I've got a special episode for you. It's a best of featuring the top 5 episodes of 2020. And that's today on the Tristen Law Show. Welcome to the Tristen Law Show, where I introduce you to the personalities in and out of the pro wrestling ring. The unique part is you don't have to be a pro wrestling fan to enjoy this podcast. If it's your first time here, take a note, because new episodes drop on Wednesdays. I hope 2021 is already going great for you. I'm Tristen Law, and welcome to this special bonus episode where I'll walk you through the top 5 episodes of 2020. If you're new here, check out the best of episode, the previous one, which was produced around Thanksgiving, 2020, American Thanksgiving, because listening to this and that will put you on track to understand what goes on here. We started this journey back in August 2020, and it's been pretty cool so far. I hope your 2021 is much better than your 2020. Here's how I see things. Yesterday makes you the person that you are today. The previous day or year may have sucked, which is the opinion of many, but take that negativity and build a better you. That's why you're listening to me right now. You see, there's some negativity surrounding me, and I dropped it back in the summer of 2020, which is why this podcast is here for you to listen to. So if you're a longtime listener, you've already made the Tristen Law Show your favorite podcast, and I appreciate you. But question, what are your goals for this year? I'll share a few of mine, and it's to up my pro wrestling status by growing as a performer and appearing on television. You heard it. You're going to see your boy on television. When it comes to the Tristen Law Show, I also want to build a better podcast and continue to entertain you and provide you with personalities you know and personalities that you may not know. Both wrestling and podcasting can bring me fame, but fame is nice, but I purely like entertaining people. Fame can come secondary, but fame does come money. I'll take the money, but you know what I'm saying. Let's kick this episode off by starting with the number 5 episode of 2020. When I first started recording interviews for the Tristen Law Show, I sent out feelers to the pro wrestling community to see who was interested. Sergeant Cash, he bit the bait. We set up the interview, and the rest, it was history. Him and we talked about his time in the military, and we even learned we had a mutual friend in a guy named Ken Reedy. Great guy. If you don't know him, Google him. Here's a clip from episode 15 featuring pro wrestler and U.S. Marine, Sergeant Cash.
5.
I've been told prior by other people that I can't say that somebody was a Marine, because once a Marine, always a Marine. So please set the record straight for me, please.
This is very true. It is actually in the order. One commandant of ours, the name escapes me right now, general basically said, there are no such thing as former Marine. I normally, myself, I will refer to a Marine I will refer to someone as a Marine who's no longer on active duty. So a Marine veteran is fine. Veteran is fine. As far as the Marine Corps goes, there are no former Marines.
What were the times that you served, and what was your highest rank?
My times that I served, I was active duty from 1995 to 1999. I was also recalled to active duty when September 11th happened from 2001 to 2003, where I was honorably discharged as a sergeant.
What other branches of the armed services did you consider, aside from the Marines?
I didn't really consider any other branch. I said to myself, if I'm going to make this decision to join the armed forces, I was really going to jump in both feet, so to speak. Like I wanted the full, this is going to be a military experience, not taking anything away from the other branches, although we all knock on each other at various points. We all rib on each other. But I always felt that if I was going to do it, I was going to go for the hardest challenge possible.
You see, for me, I wanted to go to the Coast Guard. I really wanted to go to Coast Guard so badly, because I was like, I can go to like another branch of the armed services and I could see the entire world. But why see the entire world when I could see my country first? Like, I do not have any reason in my mind right now to say, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to go to Alaska. If I was with the Coast Guard, I would have had a chance to go to Alaska. Or, I would never wake up one day and say, you know what, I think I want to go to Guam. Like, I know Guam is out there somewhere in the water, but, I wouldn't go. But because of the Coast Guard, I probably would have gotten the opportunity to do that. However, my only issue is that I couldn't swim. I still can't swim. Because I can't swim, you see, my issue is that I watch too much Baywatch. And I used to always hate when they used to drown back in the day. And like for me, that kind of like psychologically messes with me. So I'm like, well, I'd have to wake up extra early to learn how to swim. So sometimes I get mad because I didn't do that, because I know I would definitely be in a different position right now.
I'll tell you what, even though Coast Guard, I have a couple of buddies who are coasties. They can get into knee deep in some serious stuff. But a funny anecdote, since you wanted to mention swimming in the military, because obviously the Marine Corps has their own, I believe, water combat training. I'll never forget, because myself, as far as my heritage, I'm Puerto Rican, and I have a lot of island boy in me. I love the water, loved it since I was a kid. Always been a strong swimmer. When I was in the Marine Corps, we did our water combat training. One of the events that you do is you have to jump from a 10-foot tower in full camouflage utilities and backpack. You have to dive into the water feet first, and you have to traverse the length of the pool while wearing a flak jacket as well. Everyone hasn't had the experience of wearing a flak jacket. Dry, I'd say a flak jacket's probably a good 15, 20 pounds. When that thing takes on water, you might as well be wearing lead, because I'll tell you what, I was trying to dog paddle to that other side of the pool, and I sank like a damn rock. And in the Marine Corps, they won't let you, it's not like I need help. Oh, someone's going to jump in. They'll wait till you go under, and they'll watch you go under. I'll tell you what, it was the one time in my life I could say, I just might drown. I'm right there.
So you're on the bus. The bus gets to Parris Island, which is in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No, I believe South Carolina.
Okay, South Carolina. And now the bus stops, and you see the drill instructor get on the bus. Where were you in the bus? Were you in the front, the middle, the back? Where were you on the bus?
In the middle, right side.
So you're in the middle, right side. Bus stops. Door opens. Drill instructor walks in. First thought through your mind. Go.
Just seeing his countenance, just feeling his presence, this is about to get real. And it's about to get real quick.
And the drill instructor yells, hey, your ass belongs to me in the United States of America. Get the hell off the bus. How fast did you run? Were you the fastest thing on 2 feet?
I could have climbed over people. Just the force of that man's voice. I think we all were trying to climb over each other. It's like, okay, I'll get off the bus.
Obviously, you eventually finished out boot camp, and you did good. But what's the biggest lesson you learned by the time you finished boot camp?
And I think this is a lesson that is a very valuable lesson to not only any military member, but honestly anyone in life, is you really do not realize what you are capable of.
While everyone is working behind me to make the Tristen Law Show better, I wanted to take a quick time out to ask you to subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, rate the Tristen Law Show 5 stars and leave a review. Now, let's get back to the show. Well, that was number 5. Moving on to number 4. I've known the owner of pro wrestling promotion SWF, Rob Fury, out of New Jersey, for quite some time now. SWF reached out to me and said they would like to submit people for consideration to be interviewed. They submitted Vince Steele, who's a wrestler, and Melanie Michelle. Melanie Michelle was the president and co-promoter owner of SWF. Interviewing Melanie was unique as it was her first podcast ever, and she was nervous too. At this time, I've probably only met Melanie one time before talking to her during the interview, and trust me, I could understand why somebody would be nervous talking, about themselves. I get it. I understand. I felt that she brings a unique perspective to pro wrestling and to any pro wrestling promotion, because she's not only a pro wrestling fan, but a woman, which is a positive quality. Pro wrestling, as you already know, is a world that's dominated by men, and a woman touch makes it all the better. It's just my opinion, but at this time, Melanie Michelle is no longer affiliated with SWF, and you'll get to hear the full story in a few weeks as I interview Rob Fury the promoter and owner of SWF. Rob's episode will be pretty cool, and you don't want to miss it. Here's a clip from episode 9 featuring Melanie Michelle, the then promoter of SWF.
4,
When did you find your love for pro wrestling, Melanie?
Well, I started watching when I was probably about 3. It's probably the longest I can remember. There's been times in my life I went to wrestling more than other times. Like in the early 2000s, me and my sister would go to all the pay-per-views. That kind of slowed down. It got kind of expensive.
Of course, real quick.
When I was around 16, 17, we found out about indie wrestling and Jersey All Pro. That was the big company in our area.
Mm-hmm.
And my father would take me and my sister to see Jersey All Pro once a month or however often they were running. And literally my father and my sister would be sitting there in the front row and I'd run during the hardcore matches. I just run. You know, wrestling's been a big part of my life. When my father passed away about 7 years ago, I hadn't been to indie shows in a while. And my sister had never stopped going with my father. So I started going with my sister so she wouldn't have to go alone. You know, it became an every weekend thing.
Melanie, growing up, I remember the ridicule I got for loving pro wrestling. But when you were younger, what type of ridicule did you get for loving pro wrestling?
Well, the boys thought I was cool because I liked wrestling, but then I was known as a tomboy. But like as you got a little bit older, you know, people are like, "Ew, it's wrestling. That's fake," and that's so stupid. It's a very select market of people.
Who did you look up to while you were growing up, professional wrestling-wise?
All-time favorite wrestler, which would have been a little bit later, is the Hurricane.
Really?
Yes, Hurricane, absolutely. For the last like almost 20 years, I happen to have an obsession with green superheroes. Anybody that knows me knows I will tell you the Green Arrow is better than all of them. I always joke around. I even told the Hurricane one day, "Oh, you started my love for green superheroes." I always like growing up, I would root for the underdog, you know, and the Hurricane was kind of an underdog always.
Did you consider yourself a little bit of an underdog when you were growing up?
Always.
How so?
I was always an underdog. Well, I played basketball. I was actually pretty good at it. I played on a boys team for 4 years. We were state champions, but me being the girl, I was always the underdog. I'm Jewish, but the church travel team needed a center, and I was one of the best in our age group. So they talked me into coming and playing for them, but I always had to hide who I was. Like when I got into high school, it was a challenge because the coach was anti-Semitic. And even though I came up through the feeder system, I had to overcome this obstacle because all these people were getting opportunities that I was the one that deserved it. But it was given to them because, I was a Jewish girl.
So what did you want to do with basketball?
I loved playing basketball. My father coached college basketball before I was born.
Oh, really?
So at Drew University, that was before I was born. Once my parents had kids, they realized they needed higher salaries. but we're always around basketball. We would play basketball with my dad all the time. And I wanted to make a go at it. You know, I stopped because I couldn't deal with how much harder it wasn't that I had to work harder, but like, it seemed like no matter what I did, I couldn't overcome certain things that were just in my way that I had no control over.
If you can go back to yourself to when you were having all those hurdles in your life when it came to basketball, what would you tell yourself?
Well, over my life, I've learned that if somebody tells me I can't do something, I work that much harder to prove to them that I can do it. There's no telling me no. If you tell me no, that pretty much guarantees I'm going to do that. And it helped get me to where I am today, helped me be who I am. I'm very stubborn. You know, I won't just give up. You know, I'll see things through to the end. But it's all those life experiences that made me the way that I am. So I wouldn't really want to change them. I like the fact that I'm determined.
And that was the number 4 episode of 2020 featuring Melanie Michelle. I suggest you go ahead and listen to it. Why not? You're not doing anything. Well, you are right now, but after you finish with this. Moving on to number 3, Andrew Magic Morgan. Man, he's been instrumental in a lot of people who have come from the Northeast United States, including some wrestlers that you've seen on television up until today. Magic's interview was fun and unique for more than the fact that he called me from his car and you can hear New York City in the background. Let me tell you, if you're from New York City, you'll totally know what I mean without even listening to this. But Magic told me prior to going into the interview that he doesn't remember fine details from the past, but I reassured him that he didn't need to get into that too much because everyone has probably heard those stories. I want to get to know Magic as the personality behind the personality. Magic and I talk about pro wrestling a tad, but Magic himself, he calls himself a professional eater. So why not deep dive into something that he is recent on? Because I'm sure he ate that day. So we talk about food. Here's a clip from episode 8 featuring Andrew Magic Morgan.
3,
You call yourself a professional eater. So what I want to know is, what does someone have to do to title themselves as a professional eater?
Just eat, enjoy your food, man. You know, I enjoy eating, man. I'll call myself the king of buffets, you know. I love to go to buffets, man, because I can sit there for 2 hours eating and chatting, talking crap like I always do, you know.
Oh, so you're the kind of guy that tries to put the buffet out of business.
Yeah, I don't want to put them out of business. I just want to fill my gut up.
Well, Magic, I think that you succeeded because I don't think a buffet's been open since March.
Yeah, that's a little sadness because I've been gaining weight since the buffet been closed.
Wait a minute, Magic, that doesn't work.
Well, it works for me because you know what? I work myself out. I get a good workout, and then I go to the buffet to eat, and then after I go to the buffet, 2 days later, I'm back out working out at the gym. I can the buffet.
Magic, have you ever heard of Joey Chestnut?
I ain't heard of that name before.
So Joey Chestnut is the reigning and defending Nathan's hot dog eating champion.
Yes.
He's been the champion from 2007 to 2014 and 2016 to current. However, with the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, the winner gets $10,000 and a belt. Here's what I want to know, Magic. Do you think you can take him?
Well, personally, I don't like wieners. I don't like nothing wiener in my mouth. But nah, I don't think I can ever take on that guy. You know, that dude, them guys are, I don't even think I can take the woman on. You know, I like hot dogs, but I'm not big on the same food. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I like different varieties. You know, I love Chinese buffets because I can eat shrimps, crabs. If I want a steak, I can eat beef, pork. You know, whatever I want to eat, I have a different flavor, you know?
Right.
And I don't have to race. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to race to eat it. These guys, they got to pop like 100 wieners in their mouth, but I'm not too happy about popping 80 wieners in my mouth.
So, Magic, are you one of the guys that when you go to the buffet, do you put dessert on the plate at the same time, or do you use a separate plate for dessert at the buffet?
Actually, you won't believe it. I do not go after the desserts. I'm really not a big dessert eater there. I think the buffet desserts suck. You know, but I will eat a lot of food, and the only thing I'll eat there is big on me is the ice cream. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of ice cream. I don't like that fake ice cream from the machine and all that, but I will eat like ice cream sandwiches that have it. And you know, my favorite is the pudding with vanilla wafers in it.
Oh, yes, those are good.
That I'll eat I'll eat 2 plates of that before I leave. And a lot of people don't believe I don't drink soda.
You don't drink soda at all?
I drink soda, but I won't drink soda at a buffet.
Oh, right.
Water and stuff like that.
When you go to the buffet, it's, you know, for guys that like, people that like to eat, they know, just like because I like to eat as well too. When you go to the buffet, you stay away from the soda, you stay away from the bread, and you stay away from the rice, because that's a gimmick to fill you up.
Well, no, I'm sorry, but I will eat some rice, man. Yeah, I love some rice, man. Put that chicken with broccoli on top of that rice, you know. I like my rice with peas. I like to mix rice. I hate plain straight up rice. But man, you give me some that chicken broccoli, and I'll even cut bacon broccoli or the pepper hot beef broccoli, you know, the stuff they make. Man, I'll put that all on a big plate, man. You know, shrimps, man, I'm big on that. Crabs, you know, I eat the hell out of crabs. And clams, oh man, I'm a clam king. And I love the octopus.
Oh, no, I won't do that.
You know, the little squid.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one. A couple of weeks ago, you went on an eating tour where you went down south and you ate at the Waffle House. First off, Magic, I just want to let you know this. In my opinion, I think the Waffle House is gross. However, besides the buffet, what is your favorite place to eat?
Well, I like the Waffle House when I get it fresh and hot. I don't like waiting. People don't understand when you get it nice and warm, it's a different flavor.
Right.
A lot of people like it because I like grits. We don't eat grits as much at home, but when you get somebody to serve you food with a waffle, the egg, and a steak, that's me. I like eggs and steak and grits. So that's why I like the Waffle House. You know, and they give you that fresh waffle. I mean, if you ever go to the Waffle House, it looks like a shit place to eat.
It sure does.
I'm not going to lie about it. I ate at the steak place, and I can't remember the name. As soon as I walked in there, man, the hotel, I'm going to tell you about the Red Roof out in Virginia Beach. You know, I'm not trying to promote them or anything.
No, go ahead. Put them over.
Those guys really treated me well. You know, I never knew people don't really leave tips in hotels every day. I was leaving $5 to $10 tips for the maids.
Right.
And when I was down there, they got to know me. And they liked me, bro, because, they gave me a handicap room. I don't know why. I didn't ask for it.
Right.
But that they had. So I gave me a handicap room. And what happened, the chair fell when I ran the shower. Thinking the chair hits the shower, all the water went on the floor. So I had I had water all over the place by the time I almost fell asleep in the hotel. So I jumped up and like, oh shit, I stepped in water. I'm like, what the fuck? I run to the shower. I'm like, water all over. So I mopped up the shower with towels and everything. I was there for 4 days, and the first day I tipped them. I left a tip. They said, room service. I said, oh yeah, please. I mean, they gave me fresh room. And the girl was like, oh, you need tip? She said, is that mine? I was like, oh yes, it is. So that $5, she appreciated that tip, and she talked to me.
Right.
The next day, I was like, again, I dropped $10 off.
Right.
Started dropping off. But they were really cool. The staff was cool and all chill. They all talked to us. They were talking to me. They treated me like I was family down there. And they was like, yo, they was like, yo, you're the only one I know that leaves tips every day. And I said, oh, I appreciate it. And, they were talking to me and stuff like that. They told me where to go, what the best spots to go to. So they communicated with me, too, because, I don't know nothing about Virginia Beach.
Right.
I just know there's a beach out there. So they told me they had a museum, water park, and all that. And I was going to go to the water park, but that storm was coming. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to go because I'm supposed to leave Friday or Saturday. I had it to Saturday, but I left on Thursday morning.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. That shirt you're wearing is so not cool. Why don't you head on over to TristenLawShow.com and get yourself a new shirt. Not only will you be cool, but you'll also be supporting the show. What are you waiting for? Go now and get a hat too while you're at it. Thank me later. We're the show at TristenLawShow.com. And that was the number 3 episode of 2020. Shout out to Magic. Man, I've not seen Magic in person since February. It's going on almost a year. Magic, if you're listening, I'll see you soon, my friend. So moving on to number 2, I made it my interview goal to interview people who I don't know and who I have never met. I remember reading last year's 2020's PWI Top 500 Pro Wrestlers in the World. Probably the galaxy. And Mysterious Q, he made the top 500. I didn't know him, but I kind of knew of him as I occasionally watch Booker T's Reality of Wrestling on Fight TV. Yes, that Booker T. Can you dig it? I reached out to Q, and he was excited as I was to chop it up on the microphone. Although he's what we call in the pro wrestling a body guy, because he has abs and such, but he is a foodie. Until this day, we still message each other from time to time on Instagram and talk about food. You see, I live in New York and Q lives in Texas, but that's my homie. I want to go to Texas as much as he's wanting to come to New York. So hopefully once the pandemic is over, we can make it happen. We could share a meal and hopefully the ring together. Me over. Here's a clip from episode 11 featuring Mysterious Q.
2.
You always under like the eye of Booker T.
Right.
So like, and he pretty much puts the, if I can like explain it, almost like WWE prep style of working. So like, if anybody picked us up, like we'll be like ready to do TV like that day. We're trained and learned how to do TV, and like nobody steps through that ring that's not ready, that doesn't know like what they're doing up here. So like here, like everybody could go, man. Like it's crazy.
My first wrestling school that I went to was Team 3D in Florida with the Dudley Boys when Bub and Devon were both in Florida. And one of the things that Bub and Devon did, and I wasn't trained at that time, but anybody that was trained and was already working shows on the indies, they pulled them off the indies and told them, you no longer work the indies. Because just like Booker T, he's not putting anybody in that ring until he knows 100% that they can go, because they represent his name.
His exact words, I don't want that type of mess on my TV show under my name. He definitely like looks up the person and like lets the person know like protocol, or to see like what, just so they understand like what and what not to do. Like there's certain moves that he will not let you pull on his show. And like if you was to pull it, he'll tell you, get your bags and get the F out.
For example?
Man, there's a time a tag team executed like a spike power driver. Man, Book was hot. He told like the other, like, you fired, get the F out. The other guy was like a guy who's been with him for years and was like sort of like the head trainer, and told him like, maybe you don't need to be around here no more.
But these moves that Booker T, he's not so fond of, are moves that can actually injure people. So I understand why Booker T wouldn't want that move on his show. Because if you get your people injured, especially your students that go to the school, Booker T probably doesn't want that, that stigma with him that, oh, people come to his show and get hurt. So I can understand that.
It was like around the time, like if WWE wasn't doing it, we weren't doing it. Power drivers at the time, like destroyers, like headshots, head drops. Like even like recently, I wanted to like do a move from like the second rope. It's like a backflip, fall away slam. And like Book wasn't here, but like we kind of related to him, and he was like, I want to see it, so I had to perform it. And film it and then show it to him. And he was like, absolutely not. I don't need you slipping, falling on your head, being paralyzed, and then having that under my name on my show. So nah. Well, I mean, he know what he's talking about.
That's right.
So I mean, although like, yeah.
Q, after Hurricane Katrina, you left your home in New Orleans for Texas. What did you leave behind in New Orleans, and what were your goals for Texas?
Man, boy, I lost a lot. Mainly my dog, which I was so pissed last minute we decided to leave her with the neighbor. So like I lost that dog. I lost a boatload of WWE, WCW pay-per-views. I had a bunch of like, this is back in the days of VHS. So I'm pretty sure like a lot of your listeners now don't know what a VCR is, but this is back in the days of VHS tapes, and they had the little illegal cable box, so you could you can watch it. You can watch and record the pay-per-views and stuff. So like it was during those days. So I had all those. I lost all those, like a good majority of it. My Letterman, my senior ring. But like when I was coming to Texas, because this was like my senior year, and like I had kind of like lost drive to do anything. Like going to college kind of just like went out the window, because like I didn't know if I was going to play basketball. But like when I was coming to Texas, I know like I had the mindset of just starting over and trying to be somebody who was friendly, because I was a super shy kid. So I didn't talk to people much, and I always had this mean look, people said. I was just trying to make sure like when I came down here, it was a fresh start to be friendly and talk to people and be like sort of a likable personality. At the time, like wrestling was nowhere on the table or in like my mindset of something to do until like probably like a few months after I graduated.
And that was the number 2 episode of 2020 featuring Mysterious Q. Go ahead and check him out. That guy has some huge things that's going to happen for him in the future. And you're going to be able to say that you probably heard him here first. Moving on to the number 1 episode of 2020. I've known Prince Akhenaten for years, since I've been wrestling in New Jersey. Prince used to run a pro wrestling show for up and coming wrestlers in Jersey, And he used to book me way back in the day. Just like maybe like 2009, 10, 11, whatever. I've always respected Prince and what he does for the younger pro wrestling trainees. His in-ring style, I do want to say it's unique. It's different. He's not doing everything that everybody else is doing. So I endorse him. Go ahead and check him out. Back in 2020, yeah, you guys all remember that year, right? Well, I had the opportunity to be his tag team partner 3 times in 2020. So Prince, I look forward to being a tag team partner again in 2021. Here's a clip from episode 7 featuring Prince Akhenaten on his relationship with AEW wrestler Sonny Kiss.
One.
Prince, if there's a young person in the wrestling business, or heck, one of my listeners out there who wants to publicly let everybody know that they're LGBTQ+, what would you tell them to help guide them along?
Man, do it. Get it over with. Especially if you're young. It's fun to be young and gay. Like, I don't want to be gay and old. But it's, yeah, just be you. Like, I don't think it should matter. But I realize easy for me to say, living in New Jersey, you know, maybe you live in like Alabama or someplace where that's, you know, not as cool, but just be you. Find a support system of some kind. You know, like there are things like, it's called like a drag mother. I'm not super in the community because like I never felt I had to be. You know, I've just kind of met my significant others online. Like I have a girlfriend now, but you know, I've met them all through friends or online. Like I didn't go to bars and stuff like that, but that can be a great support system from what I've heard, and a great way to meet people. Not people just hook up with, but just people who may have the same pain as yours. Yeah, there's unless you're in physical danger, like an abusive family member or something, I don't see a reason to not be yourself. But again, I didn't become a wrestler to become the moral authority on anything.
Right.
That's just sort of my opinion.
Okay, so I think I know who it is. I don't know. So I'm going to ask you, and maybe you want to tell the listeners. So you were talking about you in a relationship 2 years ago. Who was it?
Oh, it was Sonny Kiss.
Sonny Kiss from AEW.
Now, yes. Now, I don't want to start any confrontation with him. I don't know how many viewers you get or who views your show or who listens to your show, but I don't want to get a text from Sonny where he's upset or mad. I don't think he cares, to be quite honest, but I will say that if you asked Sonny, he would not say that we were together. He does not like words like X or things like that when describing me. But the way I see it, he, you know, slept over at my house several days a week. We did everything together. We trained together. We drove together. We slept together for like 2.5 years. So, and you know, like there were relationships I refused because of my relationship with him. And I think that same for him. So what would you call it?
I would think that would be either dating or dating. Like I can't think of nothing else other than that.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, I don't really care what the title was, but I was involved with him. And when that ended, it fucked me up. And the fact is, it's 3 years later and it still bothers me. And that's the fact that that bothers me. And that's like the real sort of source. Here's the thing. Sonny Kiss is a brilliant performer and a very talented wrestler. And any wrestling company that uses him is lucky to have him. I cannot say anything bad about him professionally.
Right.
And most wrestling fans and most of our fellow workers, that's all they need to know about him. They don't need to know what he quote unquote did to me or what our falling out was. It's not important to anybody. I think some of my closer friends know that I feel that he hurt me. Okay, fine, but what are they going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? It's over. It does hurt to see people, you know, kiss his ass on Twitter. And rightly so. Like, obviously, he's on TV now. He's going to get a lot of fans.
Right.
Which, by the way, and I have him blocked because I just don't want to see it. You know, it's just, he's an ex. He's blocked. That's it. Nothing nefarious. And I've muted some mutual friends that I do know post a lot about him. So I really didn't see much of him on my timeline. But I did notice an uptick a few weeks ago, and I'm like, well, why is everybody talking about him now? I'm like, oh, they use him on TV. I'm like, they weren't using him on TV this whole time?
Yeah, not really. They weren't really. Yeah.
What a waste!
Yeah.
here I am putting him over. But like I thought he was on TV the whole time. Why not? Oh shit. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity. But on the other hand, it's hard. When someone hurts you and everybody else loves them, and like sometimes I want to jump in on those discussions because I'll see tweets like, "Who doesn't love Sonny Kiss?" But it won't do me any favors because. And I don't think there would be any public display or public sort of fight.
Right.
I want that. I don't think he wants that. Like I said, I don't think he cares. He obviously has moved on to much better things.
Right.
I haven't. Like I'm still pretty much where I'm at when he left me, in a wrestling sense. But like I do know if it ever got public, I lose. Automatically.
Right.
It doesn't matter who says what. It doesn't matter what's true or what's false. In the court of public opinion, he's on TV, I'm not.
Right.
Beautiful, I'm ugly. He's over, I'm nobody. So it's like, who are the fans know him, they don't know me. The other workers would much rather, if they have to pick a side, they're going to pick the side of the guy who can get them on TV.
Right.
As much as doesn't have that power, but when you weigh that thing. And then the other thing too, when the breakup happened, another word he probably wouldn't like to hear, but when the breakup happened, neither one of us asked anybody to pick a side, but that didn't stop some from picking sides.
Right.
So there were definitely friendships that suffered. I don't think any friendships outright ended, but there were friendships that certainly suffered after that split. And I thought I was going to quit wrestling after that. I did. I've done a few interviews on this and like how 2017 was the lost year. I don't remember much of it after that breakup. But I do remember being in Gino's school and there were just young kids there bumping around, no direction. And that's kind of how I started really working with the younger kids. Mm-hmm. So some good came from it, I guess.
Well, there you have it. And those are the top 5 Tristen Law Show episodes of 2020. If this was your first time here, man, you got a small taste of what has happened in the past. And the best is yet to come, I'm telling you. Although it can possibly be 2022 or 2025 or December 2021 by the time you listen to this, welcome to the family. I do want to take a second to thank all the personalities who have spent time chatting with me, from DM Stevens, Love Jones, Ariella Nix, Colin West, the owner of Synergy Pro Wrestling, Corey Castle, Ray Pittman, Prince Akhenaten, Magic, Melanie Michelle, Finn Steele, Mysterious Q, the Meadowlands Monster, the Cheapskate Wrestler, Matt Rivera, that's why you can see him on TLC's Extreme Cheapskates, Karen Bam Bam, Sergeant Cash, Gabby Ortiz, Matt Lynch, Dave Lee of Dave Knows Wrestling on YouTube, Mike Law, Molly McCoy, Remarkable Ryan Rembrandt, and most importantly, you. Without you listening and getting merch at TristenLawShow.com, none of this would be possible, so thank you. Next week, we're going to go back to the normal schedule, and I'm going to introduce you to a guy from Brooklyn, New York, and his name is Super Nitro. You heard it. I said Super, not Super. If you Google Super Nitro, it might take you to some website that you probably shouldn't be looking at work. I've warned you. If you like this episode, I need a favor from you. Yep, I'm talking to you. Share this on your favorite social media platform and don't forget to tag myself with the show. Don't make this be the thing that you do. Let's make this be the thing that we do. You can walk up to a random stranger and tell them to listen to the Tristen Law Show. Yeah, they might think you're crazy, but who really cares what other people think, right? Fine. If you're worried about being judged, go on over to TristenLawShow.com and at least buy a shirt because people will think that you're really cool. Rate the Tristen Law Show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and leave a review, please. Reviews mean a lot. Whichever podcast platform you're using to listen, please subscribe to get notified when new episodes drop. The best part is that it is free. Learn about myself and the Tristen Law Show by typing TristenLawShow.com in your internet-enabled device for more info. I've been waiting for you till next week. I'm Tristen Law. This is the Tristen Law Show. And until next time, adios.